Hey, deserving listeners, Love is Blind. I'm going to react, and my name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor. Keep in mind that since this is a psychology YouTube channel, we might get into some triggering material, so watch with care. Let's watch.
Gosh, I just feel like I can tell you like anything, and I don't know. You're not gonna like judge me or hold it against me, really.
No, I won't. You got anything to tell me that you're scared of?
Yeah, I was going to say, what have you told her that leads you to believe you could say anything? In terms of the edit, it's been fairly surface, right? So I think there's a part of her that wants to go deeper, wants more information, but the way she approaches it is in her fun, light way, which I think is interpreted by him as it's not that important to her, which I think it might be.
I mean, kind of. I'm trying not to like talk about this too much because it's not really that relevant. My last serious relationship, it ended because I cheated on her.
Okay.
It was just stupid.
Okay, so infidelity is a lot more common than what people typically think and also what you would hope, right? And people have these heuristics around once a cheater, always a cheater, which isn't necessarily true. Research has looked at a lot of different factors that predict future infidelity behaviors, one of which has to do with past infidelity, but it's not a strong factor. There's so many other factors involved in an individual's motivation to go down the road of cheating. I say it that way because cheating isn't just something you just suddenly decide to do. Every time that I have worked with cases of infidelity, you can trace back the pathway to infidelity months prior. It can be as small as just a thought that someone has about, they're walking around in the grocery store and they see someone that's attractive to them. And instead of just kind of noting that, oh, it's attractive person, they just have this little bit of a thought like, oh, I wonder what it'd be like to cheat with that person or something like that. Nothing wrong with that, right? But when that is an expression of some sort of suffering that's happening for the individual, some escape or some passive aggression or some hope or some indication of a lack of a need being met, then it grows, it progresses, it's a slippery slope. Anyway, so the way people talk about infidelity is notable. Even people that are not red flags will talk about infidelity in a way that would benefit from a deeper exploration. Infidelity, every time that I have worked with people on it, even people that I've talked with in my personal life, infidelity is a wonderful indicator of something that is big that needs to be worked on in the individual's life and their personality and their relationship and their therapy and their recovery and their awareness. There's just so much needs to be worked on. And infidelity being what it is, the outcome of all that work is a reduced likelihood of infidelity, right? But more broadly, the work results in a whole number of positive outcomes, right, with all that work, right? So typically people talk about infidelity in a fairly simplistic way, and the way people talk about it does say something potentially, right? If people are like, it was just stupid, it wasn't a big deal. Or he's saying it was just stupid. If he says something like, it wasn't okay, and I should have broken up with her, and it was so stupid because I just didn't have the guts to do it, and I ended up cheating because in my head I was out of the relationship, but I wasn't really, which is just terrible. Or it was just stupid, I got drunk one night, it's not a big deal. Let's just see what he says.
Because it's not really that relevant. My last serious relationship, it ended because I cheated on her.
Okay.
It was just stupid. Like, I completely regret it, and I would never, ever do it again.
Well, that's great to hear.
Okay, so that is, on the spectrum, a positive indication. I would need to hear a lot more to have any comment on the likelihood of it happening again, which I couldn't know, or what it would say about his personality or the way he processes things and how able he is to take responsibility. But of the things that I will hear, even on reality TV shows, that is on the more positive side. My last serious relationship, it ended because I cheated on her. It was just stupid. Like, I completely regret it, and I would never, ever do it again. So that is positive. I wonder what it was just stupid what is he saying there? Is he saying, it was just so dumb. I mean, one night, da 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 da, and I'll never do it again. How much self-awareness does he have around it? How much does he understand how it could have a negative impact? How much did he think about that during the process or leading up to it, that sort of thing? So there's just, 99.9% of anything I could say about it, he hasn't commented on, which I'm guessing we're not going to get any more information. But I will say that what he said was on the positive things. And, because I think on the show before, or other shows that I react to, people will say something like, yeah, it was just a mistake one night, and I don't know what else to say about that. And it's like, it wasn't a mistake. Like, if you think about, well, famously, the worm guy with a mustache, what's his name? His whole thing.
Said that integrity line, I felt like it was probably something with a past relationship.
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, like, when I go to like bachelor parties or something in like Vegas or just like out, like I definitely have girls that come up to me.
Yeah.
When I go to that stuff now in the future, like I'm just not gonna even entertain it.
Okay. So he is saying that, and it's in that column of self-aggrandizing, right? It might be true. I'll take his word for it. It's a particular way of putting it, right? I'm biased, clearly, but there's good things he's saying, right? If I were Molly, this is what I would be thinking. We have to talk a lot more about this. What were the circumstances regarding infidelity in the past? And how do you see this sort of thing? Because if you're claiming that the reason why you cheated was because a woman approached you and you just failed to say no, then what's going on there? In the moment, was there that inner driving force of, I do not want to do something that's going to harm my partner, even if you're intoxicated? What was going on there? How much self-awareness do you have? Because in the future with me and you, especially years down the line when our honeymoon period of vibe is subsiding, what is that inner driving force? How do you guide your behavior? How do you evaluate those kinds of things? Because apparently women walk up to you, and so there's going to be other opportunities.
Well, I think that shows a lot about your growth. I don't ever judge what someone's done in the past because I've made mistakes as well. I haven't necessarily cheated on someone because I've, never been in that
not really had that
fully serious relationship, but I did participate in someone else cheating on their girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
I had a...
Okay, so she's disclosing that as well. And I do appreciate her attitude sometimes on the show when someone discloses that they've cheated in the past. In my estimation, there can be an overreaction. It happened during the UK season with Freddie and what was her name? And, people can make decisions however they want to in their romantic relationships. But the fact that someone's cheated in the past, that isn't necessarily much of an indication of their character and how they would behave moving forward. It's a factor and it's something to look at. And conversely, if someone was telling the truth and they told someone that they had never cheated in the past, I wouldn't, from the outside, say, well, they're never going to cheat in the future because it can happen to anybody for a variety of reasons.
A lot of guilt about it, and I had to try and figure out why I did that, knowing they were in a relationship.
I know, doesn't that suck?
It sucks, yeah. And in that situation, it was someone that I had, past history with.
Okay, I'm encouraged by what Molly is saying. She's saying that it was a concern to her why she would do that, and she investigated why she did it, which is that's what I would recommend anyone do, is not just brushing it aside and saying, I'm never going to do it again, or I was drunk and it was a mistake, or what am I going to do when women walk up to me, that kind of stuff. It is very fruitful to ask, what is it about me that caused that to happen? What's going on with me? Is it a matter of my interpretation or the way that I see these situations, my personal responsibility? Is it my desperation to have, because that's often what it is, honestly, is what infidelity is motivated by, is there's some desperation that the individual is either unaware of or is not addressing. And the infidelity in the moment feels like a temporary reprieve from that desperation. Whether it's, am I a good person? Am I lovable? Am I desirable? Am I trapped? Am I good enough? Am I too close to someone, so I'm going to cheat? There's a lot of different desperations and worries and hurts that people don't address. And there's a lot of behaviors that people engage in to cope in both constructive and destructive ways, infidelity being one. So it sounds like she looked into that, which is encouraging.
That suck.
It sucks, yeah. And like in that situation, it was someone that I had, past history with, and I really did care about him. Mm-hmm. I was hopeful for something in the future, and, lines got crossed.
Okay, that's interesting. He is saying that he can relate, and it sounds like he's been there too. This adds depth to her history and might be one of the most vulnerable things that we've seen in the edit. This is the first indication that she longed for closeness with someone, right? Because up until this point in the edit, she's been telling, I've never had a boyfriend, never felt the need. And, it's fine. But it sounds like here she was wanting deeper with someone. Because the vibe she was giving off was that guys were wanting to be with her and wanting an exclusive long-term relationship with her. And that might be the case. And she was just not interested. But we're hearing this is the first time where she's talking about how she wanted something deeper with someone, but he was unavailable. So that does raise a question and might be all part of a larger constellation of things that we're hearing from her that is defensive in nature, that she will pursue people that are unavailable because she is afraid of getting too close or something. All right, well, if you like what I am doing here on this YouTube channel, you can support Psychology in Seattle by becoming a member on YouTube or a patron on Patreon or both. And when you do that, you get access to exclusive content on either YouTube or on Patreon. And when you do that, you are very much giving me the ability, and all of us who work at Psychology in Seattle, to do all the things that we do. I wouldn't be able to do any of this stuff if it weren't for the members and the patrons. And if you are a member and a patron, thank you so much, truly. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.